trying to keep the agenda in order. Good evening. Welcome to the regular meeting of the West Valley City Council being held electronically, and as required by state law, why we will have an electronic statement of meeting read. Pursuant to Utah Code, West Valley City has determined that this meeting will be held electronically without an anchor location given the ongoing novel coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic. West Valley City has determined the pandemic presents a substantial risk to the health and safety of those who may be present at an anchor location. This meeting will be held electronically. Members of the press and public are invited to view this meeting live on YouTube at www.youtube.com/user/WVCTV. To participate in the public comment period or scheduled public hearings, please visit www.wvc-ut.gov/public comment or contact the city recorder. Thank you. Let's see, as far as council members, we have everyone present. Yeah, we do. Have to just look at the list and see. And then we have, as has been our tradition electronically, an Inside the City video.
Stressful situations, traumatic situations, they go hand in hand with police work.
They're just as human as everybody else. They aren't given extra superpowers to deal with that extra distress.
Now the West Valley City Police Department is taking action to lift some of the weight of the call from officers' shoulders.
I'm Mariah Ikemi-Shero. I'm an LCSW, and currently I'm the resident therapist for the department. And what that means is that I'm the therapist that is for the officers everywhere from chief down.
The West Valley City Police Department now has an in-house therapist. It's an innovative move. In fact, West Valley City Police Department is the first in Utah to implement such a program.
Twice a year, everybody's coming in. And what's beautiful about it is there are no exceptions. So that's from the chief down. And that provides camouflage, right? If everyone has to come in, nobody stands out.
Giving everyone a chance to work through some of the difficult issues that can accompany police work.
We have known that this type of work produces very predictable scarring patterns in terms of intellectual injuries, mental injuries, emotional injuries. And we know and can predict what those injuries lead to in terms of human cost. The main reason it's important because we know how to help a predictable, painful problem, and to not do so is irresponsible.
Thank you. Let's see, next we have our minutes of April 20th, a motion on the minutes, and a second.
Move for approval of those minutes.
Second.
Very good. Then without objections, the minutes will be approved. And hearing no objections, then it's approved unanimously. Next, we have our public comment period, and we have several who are speaking tonight. We remind, because we have several individuals, I think maybe a couple of new ones, all comments are addressed to the mayor, a maximum of 5 minutes. It is not a debate, it's your time. You may have questions, but we typically don't respond to those during the 5 minutes that an individual has to give them all of that time to them. So with that then, our city recorder has several people lined up for our public comment. These will not be the people who are going to speak for the 2 public hearings that we have scheduled. These are just generic, any issue comments. Nicole, who's first?
Mayor, we did have 4 people sign up, but it looks like only 2 are logged on. The first one is Jim Visock.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Of course, you know I was going to be here. I am going to talk about the F-350 truck, but it's going to be a positive thing this time because in last week's study meeting, I did listen, and it appears that the money is not coming out of the general fund. It's coming out of a special account under funding sources. It didn't say anything but the special account number. So if it's not costing the city or the taxpayers anything, then I'm okay with that, as I think we all are. It's great to see all the summer programs back. I love Nancy Day's presentation. It's good to hear. I know everybody's ready to get out into our parks and stuff, and it's great to see that it looks like if everything keeps going the way it's going, we're going to have a great summer program. The parking ordinance, one of the council members in the study meeting said that nobody commented on that. For the record, I did comment on it, and for the record, I was in favor of it. And I was quoted on the news that I talked about people being able to pull their RVs or their trailers in, and I am still in favor for it. I don't understand why the news made such a big deal about this, though, because in our surrounding communities, it's a common thing. And in one of our communities that I know for sure, they've taken it even a step further. When you're standing in your driveway looking across the street, that curve over there, you can't park there either. So West Valley just asking for 5 feet on each side so that you can pull in and out of your driveway safe and easily, especially if you have a big vehicle. I don't understand what the big deal was. I am going to speak about the 2 resolutions since I have time and my internet goes in and out. On A, it should be approved, no problem. We do need new homes in West Valley, even though these are small homes, they're great starter homes. B is for senior housing. There is a big demand, there is a need, and we need this. So hopefully both of these will be approved. That's all I have. Stay safe, stay strong, and look, half the time is back to you.
Thank you. Nicole, who's next?
Mayor, next we have Mike Rigdon.
Can you hear me?
Yes, please go
Okay.
ahead.
My concern will always be the 4100 highway. And I believe the area between 4400 west to 5400 west, east, west bound on 4100 south does not have a buffer zone or sidewalk. Especially at the existing speed, it's going to be 40 miles per hour. Hopefully everybody will have an opportunity to walk down this sidewalk and realize that safety should be the highest priority when setting a speed limit on city street. About city streets, I think West Valley City has to address the problem of the fast and furious vehicles traveling on city streets. I ask every one of you, walk around the area that you live. If you live in West Valley City, get out of your tiki huts, get out of your plantation, your cubicles, and go for a walk in your neighborhood. I dare you to go 40 minutes. And in that 40-minute time period, how many times will you hear war on our streets, bullet bikes, hot rods? It is a war on our city streets. Our streets are becoming more raceways And all you have to do is get out and walk. That's all you have to do. That's all I'm asking you council people to do. Mayor, I think you do that. And in fact, you know what? I am so proud of what you have done to bring to pass this parking problem on streets. I'm going to nominate you for Mayor of the Month in the state of Utah because you deserve it. And the council people that voted for people that are multi-living in single resident area family residence, this is a constant problem in my neighborhood where I have a BYU professor that lives in a single family residence, and she rents out her rooms. And yet you go down the street, another house will have 7, 8 cars out of this one home that only has 3 bedrooms. How can that be? It's a problem. And I believe if we put, maybe go out and arrest some of these people that are the fast and furious and pick up a little bit of revenue and be creative. I know the police department has many vehicles that you can do special targets where you go out and watch, listen, hear the ramping of engine blaring down the street. You know they're going faster than the speed limit. I hope that in the new 4400 or 5400 West area, I've met several 30-mile-an-hour speed limit signs posted, 30-mile-an-hour. In fact, on the, I guess it would be south side of 4100 or 5400, they've actually got a flashing speed to show your speed. I watched it, and in 3 to 4 minutes that I watched it, every single vehicle going through that area was at 40 miles per hour. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Nicole?
Mayor, that was all the public comment. Again, 2 more people signed up, but it doesn't look like they've logged on.
Okay. Then we'll close that public comment portion of our meeting, and we'll bring it back to see if our city manager has any comments he wants to add tonight on any issue.
No comments, Mayor. Thank you.
Any comments from our council members? Okay. Now it's a little harder. See if I can see the council member's face. I can usually identify what they're thinking, but when it just has their name, I just have to wait and see if they say anything. Okay. We'll move on to our next item on our agenda, our public hearings. The first one tonight is GPZ-2-2021, filed by Matthew Edema. This is a general plan amendment from large lot residential 2 to 3 units per acre to low density residential, and a zone change amendment from agricultural to residential sustainability at 3724 South, 3200 West, where the maximum lot size is 8,000 square feet. These will, excuse me, minimum. I said maximum. I meant minimum. These will actually average about 8,700 square feet. And this is 15 lot subdivision So not large, but it's on a new classification that we have put in for this type of development where there are specific requirements regarding to high energy efficiency and low water use. And all of those are included in the ordinance, and all of those will be met in this particular program, this particular development. So in conjunction with that, after we open the public comment period, we will consider 3 items: Ordinance 21-19, amending the general plan, Ordinance 21-20 to amend the zoning map, and Resolution 2158 for the development agreement. With that then, we will officially open the comment period for this. Is there anyone online, Nicole, to speak to this issue?
Mayor, we do have the applicant, Mr. Idema.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, yes, Mr. Mayor and members of the council, thank you for hearing us tonight. My name is Matthew Idema. I'm representing Eugene Hahn, who is the property owner for this particular application. We've been working with Steve Pastoric and staff since last year on trying to craft a development that fits within the new RS zone ordinance for the city. This applicant has owned this property for several years, had come in previously for a multifamily application, and was that particular application was turned down, was rejected. We have come back with this particular new consideration, this concept plan with a development agreement pursuant to the residential sustainability ordinance, and we're very pleased to be at this point with staff having given a positive staff report and the Planning Commission passing along a recommendation for approval. I would defer any other comments to questions from the council members. So thank you very much.
Okay. Nicole, there weren't any other commenters on this item?
No, sir.
Okay. Any questions for this individual? If not, then I'll close public comment, but just seeing if anyone had any questions. Hearing no questions, then thank you. We'll close the public comment period, and we'll bring it back to the council for any further discussion or action.
I move for approval of resolution 21-19.
That would be ordinance 21-19.
Second.
Okay, yeah, just clarifying that you meant ordinance.
Yes.
So it is properly before us. Any further discussion? Hearing no further discussion, we will ask our city recorder to do the roll call vote.
Councilman Fatiz Manu.
Aye.
Councilwoman Lang.
Yes.
Councilman Bueller.
Aye.
Councilman Hune.
Aye.
Councilman Christensen.
Yes.
Councilman Nordfelt.
Yes.
And Mayor Bigelow.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. That takes care of the general plan change. What's next?
Motion to approve on ordinance 21-20.
Second.
Properly before us again. Any further comments? Hearing none, we'll go to our city recorder for the vote.
Councilman Nordfelt.
Yes.
Councilman Christensen.
Yes.
Councilman Hune.
Aye.
Councilman Bueller.
Aye.
Councilwoman Lang.
Yes.
Councilman Fatiz Manu.
Aye.
And Mayor Bigelow.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Next.
So I have one question for staff on resolution 21-58. I
Yes.
know I know that they are meeting our, can't remember if it's SR or RS zone. But does this development agreement go with the land if they sold it off to another developer?
Yes, this is Steve Patrick, and yes, it does run with the land.
Okay, thank you. With that, I would move for approval of resolution 21-58.
Second.
Properly before us, hearing no further comments, to our city recorder.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ling.
Yes.
Councilman Bueller.
Aye.
Councilman Hume.
Aye.
Councilman Christensen.
Yes.
Councilman Nordfeld.
Yes.
And Mayor Bigelow.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Next, we go to another public hearing. This is application GPZ-3-2021, filed by Arcadia SP Incorporated. This is a general plan amendment from rural to medium density residential, zone change from agricultural to RM, multiple unit dwelling residential, for property at 6087 West Parkway Boulevard. In conjunction with that, the general plan change, the zoning map change, and the development agreement will be a part of this. This particular development is 13.8 acres, and the change here will turn this into a project where the density will be approximately 6 units per acre, with the minimum size unit of 1,500 square feet, 2-car garage, driveway for parking for a couple of cars. And this particular development is for what we would refer to as a senior units. And so this is one that we recently made a change for an opportunity for some of these developments within our city. And this is the first one I believe we're addressing on this issue. So the proposal is interesting, and it's proper for us. Without any further comments before I open the public comment portion? Not hearing any, then to Nicole, do we have anyone to speak to this particular issue?
Mayor, we do have the applicant, Mr. Ken Milne.
Okay, thank you. Ken, go ahead.
Hi, Mayor, Council. Thank you for your consideration on this parcel for the residential multifamily. We're kind of excited about this piece and this new zoning that you have potentially on this piece. We feel it's in a great location. We feel that there's a real need for a 55 and older community in West Valley City. We've kind of taken the residential estate zoning that the council had approved, and we've kind of perfected that, and we recognize that that's worked in the city really well. At Newton Farms, 97% of the people that bought Newton Farms are from West Valley City, which was which is unusual really, because most developments that I do, they come from other cities, but we retained those people within the city, which I think was a good thing. But what we want to do with this parcel here, we like to make this project just as nice, equally as Newton Farms and the residential estate, and maybe incorporate some of their standards along with the residential sustainability zoning with the higher insulation packages to minimize the bills for those residents. But we feel that we can bring a really good development into the city that you'd be happy with aesthetically, just as nice as Newton Farm, for the 55 and older community, which we think would be a great addition. But I'm certainly open to any questions or concerns, and we'd love to address anything that you may have as a council.
Council members, any questions, comments?
I had one question. I thought last week during study session, the home size was larger than 1,500 square feet.
Is that a question for me?
Yes. So is your
Okay.
to build 1,500 square foot homes?
We've applied on the development agreement for as low as 1,500 square foot homes, but the plans, the building plans that we gave were based on 1,950 square foot plans with an additional 400 square feet. There may be people that don't want additional bedrooms, so we could offer a smaller unit. But I would imagine that the units are going to be in the 1,900 to 2,000 square foot range.
So for me to be comfortable with this development, I would want to make a motion that increases the house size to 1,950 instead of 1,500. So that would be the only way I could be comfortable with that. I don't know if you would be comfortable with that change or not.
So with the 1950, you're basically going to get a 3-bedroom unit. And not every 55 and older person is going to want 3 bedrooms, is what our concern is. So we wanted to be able to offer something to the limited few that may want something smaller. But not everyone's going to want a 1,950 square foot 3-bedroom home. Our standard in Newton Farms, our minimum standard is 2,000 square feet. Those are 3-bedroom units. And so with the bigger square footage also drives price up. So we're trying to be price sensitive, keeping the quality, but also offering an elderly couple the ability to have 1 or 2 bedrooms as an option. But if you go with a 1950, it'd be very difficult to do that. So it'd be good to have the option if we could.
Yeah, I'm just worried about the whole development being built out at 1,500 and where this property is already for residential estates, and we have those larger homes that people want to stay in West Valley for.
Sure.
That's why I'm kind of uncomfortable with the 1,500. I could
No, that
maybe.
makes sense. And maybe we could put a limit on the number of 1,500 units, 1,500 square feet units if you
like
want.
10% at a minimum of 15, and then the rest would be at least 1,950.
Well, we're going to have 4 floor plans, starting off with 1 bedroom all the way up to 4 bedrooms and everything in between. So I don't know what the demand is. Is the demand for everything to be 1950? I don't know. It may be. But I haven't contemplated, limiting the number of 1,500 square foot units.
Just a clarification here, since we're still officially in the public comment period and asking questions, I don't think we can make a motion during that. So you were just referring to you would like to make that motion.
Yeah, if I made a motion, would he be comfortable with that? And that would be the 10% at the 1,500 and then 90% at the higher.
Mayor, I do have Mr. Pastorick who is available and would like to say a comment.
Great.
Okay. Steve?
Thank you, Mayor. So one suggestion we've done in other developments is you could have a minimum, but then also have an average. So we've said, the smallest unit could be 1,500, but then overall the average unit size has to be, let's say, 1,800 or 1,700 square feet, so that way you get a blend of different unit sizes, and that everything doesn't end up being 1,500 square feet. So just a suggestion.
So hearing my comments, would 1,800 square feet take care of that?
Is that for me or Steve?
Steve.
So that would be one way to approach it. That would lean more towards the larger units if you did 1,800, but if you went with say 16 or 17, to give a little more leeway towards the 1 and 2 bedrooms.
Okay, thank you.
Steve, would something like that be a part of the development agreement?
Yes, sir. So what we would do, and we've done in other developments, is we just track the units as they're constructed and kind of keep track of the average overall.
So that would be part of the resolution, not part of the ordinance.
Correct. It'd be part of the development agreement.
Thank you.
And then again, this development agreement goes with the land. if this developer pulls out and another one comes in to build another version of the same thing, the development agreement would be in place, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any further questions?
One, Mayor. Question
Yes.
for Steve. In this kind of development, as we've seen in the past, what is kind of the general distribution or proportion, I guess, of the 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom plus? Or is there an average square footage, as you had mentioned before, too? Just to give me an idea of what else has been developed.
Sure. So the examples I can think of where we've done an average have actually been single family detached development. So we haven't, that I can remember, had an average for a senior product before. So, and then as far as the unit mix in senior developments, that's something I don't have handy. I'd have to do some research to know what the unit mix is on some of the existing projects.
Okay. Yeah, I only ask because I am intrigued by Councilwoman Lang's line of thought here. And in terms of maybe setting an average square footage, I would just want that to be fair to the market and, not squeeze out too many, lock out too many small units or be offering too many larger units, just based on what the standard is in these kinds of communities typically.
Okay, so unless there are more comments for Ken Milne, I'm going to close the public comment portion and bring it back to the council. Okay, so we're going to close the comment period for that. It's back with the council now. I believe when I went out to review these, there were not a lot of senior over 55 complexes. It wasn't like there were 50 of those. There were actually quite a limited number. So I don't know what the market will bear in conjunction with that. I'm a little concerned because we didn't have that requirement in earlier. And the idea here is even if it's a couple and they'd want a 1 or 2 bedroom, I would prefer to keep them in our city rather than having them go somewhere else. So just a little concern there, but anyway, it's back with the council for any comments and or motion.
And Mayor, just a quick comment. I know at least one person that's contacted me and said he cannot find the smaller 1 and 2 bedroom 55 plus floor plans in the city right now. They're all gone. And he's looking at possibly moving out of the city because he needs one for his wife's health. And, so I think this is something that is needed. So yeah. With that, I would move to approve ordinance 21-21.
Second.
Properly before us. And by the way, I did forget to mention the location, 6087 West Parkway Boulevard, just so that's on the record there. That motion is properly for us. Any further discussion?
I think my only comment is before we vote on this is we're taking a 1 to 2 unit per acre to a 6 unit per acre. And I think if we give in on the house size, we're going to be doing ourselves a disservice since we have had such great success at Newton Farms with their larger homes. So just as a note.
Okay, any further comments? Hearing none. To our city recorder for a vote on, let's see, we're on ordinance 21-21, right? Okay.
Councilman Fitisamanu,
Aye.
Councilwoman Lang,
Yes.
Councilman Bueller,
Aye.
Councilman Hune,
Aye.
Councilman Christensen,
Yes.
Councilman Nordfelt,
Yes.
and Mayor Bigelow.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Next.
Move to approve ordinance 2122.
Second.
Properly before us. Any further comments? Hearing none, to our city recorder for the vote.
Councilman Nordfelt,
Yes.
Councilman Christensen,
Yes.
Councilman Hune,
Aye.
Councilman Bueller,
Aye.
Councilwoman Lang,
Yes.
Councilman Petit-Quanu,
Aye.
Mayor Bigelow.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Now, we do have one item still in connection with this, the development agreement. And so if this would be the one where if you wanted to change something, you would make the motion. Okay. So it's in the council's purview. What?
I would move for approval of resolution 21-59 with the change from minimum house size of 1,500 square feet to the average of 1,700 square feet.
I'll second that.
That's properly before us. Any further comments?
I just make the comment, Mayor, that I don't necessarily oppose that action, but I'm going to vote no on the motion. I don't think that it's good practice to, when a developer has complied with our ordinance and not made any ask for any leniency or changes. I mean, we could certainly have denied changing the zoning. We could have denied to change the general plan because we want something else, but I don't think that it's a good practice to negotiate at the final step and without any data or really any history or facts that give me comfort moving forward. Just kind of pull out of our hat that we want to do something different and corner him and make him agree to something.
I think I would add a comment. This is the first one we've received under these new guidelines. And I know I made this comment before, but I'll reiterate it here tonight. And that is, we do want to see what will happen under the proposal as we set it up, and to monitor it and see what the impact is. Until we have that, maybe this one is the one that we can send through, and if, for example, most of them turn out to be smaller, then we would revisit that. But I think the market will drive a lot of this. And I know there's a great demand right now for these types of units, 55 plus, in West Valley City. I'm not sure what that breakdown is, but I do know there is a significant interest in it. In fact, I was talking with another developer who was looking at doing a project, and just by word of mouth, he hasn't even gotten anything to the city yet. He has pre-sold a couple of dozen units in this project right now because of the high demand. So that's just information to pass along to you. With that, any other comments?
I would just say we're doing the neighborhood a disservice if we have told them we're going to put RE in there and then we change and go with 1,500 square foot senior living. Because Newton Farms was such a success, I think we might be short-sighted. I know there's probably going to be 3 more of these come back through the city council in the next 6 months, and you won't have time to see how this plays out. I don't think the developer will have a problem with the 1,700 square foot average. It doesn't require that a lot of them be the larger, and their main plan from speaking to them earlier was that the 1950 was what they thought they would sell the most of. So just from my conversation with him earlier in the week, I'm comfortable with the stipulation, and I think we'll do ourselves a disservice to start out small and then ask these future developments to up their game. I think we're setting a poor precedence by doing that.
Any further comments? Hearing no further comments, to our city recorder for the vote.
Councilman Nordfelt,
No.
Councilman Christensen,
No.
Councilman Hune,
No.
Councilman Bueller,
No.
Councilwoman Lang,
Yes.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu,
Yes.
and Mayor Bigelow.
No.
Motion fails.
Move for approval of resolution 21-59, the development agreement.
Second.
Okay, properly before us. Any further comments? Hearing none, to our city recorder for the vote.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu,
Aye.
Councilwoman Lang,
No.
Councilman Bueller,
Aye.
Councilman Hune,
Aye.
Councilman Christensen,
Yes.
Councilman Nordfelt,
Yes.
and Mayor Bigelow.
Aye.
Motion passes by majority.
Thank you. Next, we go to Resolution 21-60, an interlocal cooperative agreement between our city and Salt Lake County for the purchase of aerial photography. This we actually do regularly in order to have current information. These are used in numerous legal descriptions and property concerns. And as it turns out, because of delays due to the pandemic, the county is not charging us for these, but is still making them available. So it seems to be a pretty good deal. With that introduction then to the council.
Move for approval of resolution 2160.
Second.
Properly before us, any further comments? Hearing none, to our city recorder.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu,
Aye.
Councilwoman Lang,
Yes.
Councilman Bueller,
Aye.
Councilman Hune,
Aye.
Councilman Christensen,
Yes.
Councilman Nordfelt,
Yes.
and Mayor Bigelow.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Next, we have Resolution 21-61 to approve the purchase of a Ford F-350 truck from Ken Garf Ford, not to exceed $33,100. This will be for Parks and Recreation. This is the cab and chassis, and the truck will be upfitted with a service body for the unique needs of the Parks and Recreation Department. With that then, that's the introduction to the council.
Move for approval of resolution 21-61.
Second.
Property before us, hearing no further comments, to the city recorder.
Councilman Nordfelt,
Yes.
Councilman Christensen,
Yes.
Councilman Hune,
Aye.
Councilman Bueller,
Aye.
Councilwoman Lang,
Yes.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu,
Aye.
and Mayor Bigelow.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Next, we have Resolution 21-62. This is where we're entering into an easement agreement and accepting a perpetual easement and temporary construction easement with the Munoz from, Monica and Jose Munoz for property 2917 West, 3875 South. This is one of those issues where we're doing the asphalt overlay, and the ADA requirements are that we have to make it ADA accessible, so we're placing sidewalk, curb there in order to make it comply with federal standards. With that introduction to the council.
I would move for approval of the consent agenda, one item.
Second.
Properly before us, hearing no further comments, to our city recorder.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu,
Aye.
Councilwoman Lang,
Yes.
Councilman Bueller,
Aye.
Councilman Hume,
Aye.
Councilman Christensen,
Yes.
Councilman Nordfelt,
Yes.
Mayor Bigelow.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
There is no need for a closed session, so that should complete our work for the evening. So a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
All in favor? Well, excuse me, without objection, we will stand adjourned, and hearing no objection, we are adjourned. Thank you all. Have a safe evening, and